It's so good to see you. Welcome in, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's so good to have everybody here. So I have to admit, the turning of the season is giving me a little hope in the midst of a pretty challenging time, I think, for all of us. And yesterday, I attended a prayer vigil with many of you. It was great to see some of you there. And then I went home and perhaps foolishly planted spinach and peas and chard in my garden.
Here to hope.
Here to hope.
Oh,
So,
That is a great statement of hope.
I am wondering if there's anything that you all have been doing that gives you a little bit of sense of hope or resistance to all that is so hard right now.
I'm napping. If I don't nap, I lose hope because I'm too tired to function. So I nap, then I have hope again, and then I do more work.
Those children yesterday at that event, they were my source of hope.
Amen.
Yeah, I have to say that it was so good to show up with other human beings, putting our bodies and voices on the side of justice. That gave me a tremendous amount of hope.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to plant my peas. That gives me hope.
Yes.
And I took a nap.
Way to go. So Jim and Ann, I'm especially glad you're with us today. Jim and Ann are our care companions, and they are here to offer support to anyone after the service. If you want to have a listening ear, someone who's trained to hear your concerns, things that are on your mind and on your heart, and to be with you and to be a companion, please click the link to join Ann and Jim after the service as our care companions. So thanks so much for showing up and being with us. And I'm going to go ahead and welcome us and get our service started together today. It's so good to be together. So good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Jen Crow. I'm one of your ministers here at First Universalist Church, and I'm so glad that you are here with us this morning. Whether you're joining us live on YouTube or Zoom, or whether you're listening to the podcast or watching the recording later, it matters that we are here together today and in all of the days ahead. It matters that we are together because we are in a moment here in Minneapolis and around our country. And it matters that we show up with and for each other, seeking sustenance and community and care, a place where we can share our grief and our rage at the continued killing of Black and Brown people by the police in this time of transformation, where we are unlearning and learning anew, that we might really move into transformation and liberation and create systems and ways of being where everyone can thrive. This is the moment of change we're in. It matters that we come together for sustenance and care and strength and support in this journey. So if you are here with us live this morning on Zoom or YouTube, one of the ways we can create community, even though we are at a distance from each other, is to let each other know that we're here. So if you haven't already, say hi in the chat if that feels comfortable. Let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know that you're here and that we are here together. Now, all throughout the service and throughout the week, you will discover who we are at First Universalist by what we do. We are a faith community that is committed to welcoming, affirming, and protecting the light in each human heart. We listen deeply to where love is calling us next, and we act with courage and humility and compassion for justice. We do all of this as a faith community that is deeply committed to racial justice and to dismantling the systems of supremacy, especially white supremacy culture, to dismantling them and creating a world where everyone can thrive. This is who we are. This is the life we invite you into when you journey with us. Now, there are all kinds of different ways to get involved here at First Universalist, and a number of those opportunities will get listed in the chat, or you can look at the order of service to find them. But I want to lift up just a few this morning. Now, if you are a Minneapolis public school parent or caregiver or teacher or staff at a school, you know that this coming school year is bringing a lot of changes to the Minneapolis public schools with the implementation of the comprehensive district design. Now, this is going to result in significant school and community changes for many families. So we want to invite you to come join us on Monday evening on Zoom to learn about the larger context of the CDD, and also to share ideas about how to support your children through this transition while engaging our shared commitment to anti-racism. Join us for this conversation Monday evening. Also, if you haven't already signed up for Abolition 101, Imagining Freedom for All, I invite you to do so now. The time is now to join the 6-week circle that offers an opportunity to explore what abolition and defunding the police means in the context of our Unitarian Universalist faith. It's an opportunity to reflect on the wisdom of longtime abolitionists and those exploring ways to create communities and institutions that support the welfare and well-being of every person. Please join now. And third, I want to invite you, if you feel comfortable doing so and you are local in Minneapolis, to come by the church today. We'll be here in the parking lot from 1 to 3 to say hello for our gathering in gratitude. It's a chance to celebrate the wrapping up of our annual giving drive. So many of you have already let us know how you plan to support the church financially in the year ahead, and we are so grateful for your support and generosity. We want to say thank you and celebrate with you. Every year, it is your generosity that funds our church. We don't receive outside funding. There is no other magical source of income. It is our gifts collectively that determine what we're able to do as a congregation and how we are able to be together. So your gifts matter. They fund everything from making sure the internet and the tech works on Sunday mornings, to offering small groups and opportunities for learning, to supporting each other during times of transition and loss. Your gifts matter. If you haven't already made your gift or let us know how you plan to support the church in the year ahead, please do so we can plan our budget. And as always, if this is a season of your life when you are in need of support from the church, let us know. We can hold everything and all of what we're going through together. So if you're able, come on by this afternoon between 1 and 3. We'll be masked and socially distanced in the parking lot for our gathering in gratitude. We have a gift for you. You can make your gift if you haven't already. It would be so good to see your faces. I also want to remind you that we have a number of opportunities right after the service, from the UUs and 12-step recovery group to our fellowship hours. And if you are coming to a fellowship time after the service, I just want to let you know that to access the Black, Indigenous, and People of Color Fellowship Hour, you'll just go through the main fellowship hour today and move into a breakout group. So welcome. Let's take a moment to settle in, to really connect with one another across time and space with our shared spiritual practice of 3 deep breaths. So I invite you to make yourself comfortable wherever you are. For me, I'm feeling my feet on the floor. I'm going to take a moment to let my shoulders go up and drop down. And I invite you, if it's comfortable, into 3 intentional breaths. We breathe in and we breathe out so slowly. We breathe in and we let go. And we breathe in one more time. And we let it go. Connected by our shared breath, we begin our worship together. And let's start, as we always do, if you have a chalice or a candle or a flame that just gets lit in your heart, let's light our chalice together, along with Ike and Bennett Smalley this morning.
Please join me in saying the words for the lighting of the chalice. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Good morning, friends. The story that I'm sharing with you this morning is a story that Lauren and I wrote together. I want to talk particularly to our young people now, to our children and our youth. We have to talk with you today again, about an act of violence in the Twin Cities. Another young Black man killed by police. Here he is. His name is Dante Wright. Dante was 20 years old, and he had a little son who was almost 2 years old, and parents and siblings and friends and a girlfriend who loved him very, very much. Dante was driving his car and he was pulled over by police, who say they didn't mean to shoot him, but they did, and Dante died. We wish so much that we didn't have to talk with you about this. We wish Dante were alive, that all Black and brown and indigenous people whose lives have been taken by police were alive, but our wishing can't make them be alive again. And so, as we have promised you, we will tell you what we know, and we will listen to you and your questions and your feelings. We will be with you and take care of you and keep you safe, and we will do our part to take power away from the police, and we will do whatever we can to make sure that everyone in our communities is safe and valued and loved. Some people might say that it's childish to think that we can get rid of this problem of police hurting the people they say they are protecting and serving. Some people might say it's childish to think that the world will change. They might say that racism and violence and police with guns are just part of life and we have to get used to that. Those people are wrong. And you, our children and youth, you know that. You tell us that you don't understand why police keep killing people in our streets, that they should just stop. You tell us that you know that it's possible to treat everyone with kindness and respect and care. Those are not childish ideas. Those ideas are brave and wise and prophetic. Those ideas are holy and good. Here's what I know. Here's what our religious and spiritual ancestors knew. The world is good. The world is filled with good things like trees and flowers and clouds and rocks and animals and insects and rain and snow and sun and wind. The Creator God is all good and all loving, and so too is the created, all good and beloved. The ground we inhabit is sacred. Good, whole, and holy is its natural state. Being born and living in this good world is the original grace we receive through no action on our part. The world is good. You and I and everyone is born good into this beautiful, good world. But over time, people have built some things that are not good, some things that are, in fact, very bad. People have created ways of policing that hurt our Black and brown and indigenous siblings. It doesn't have to be like that. The world is good and we can build something good upon it. People are capable of building good things together. Together, we might imagine and build new ways of protecting and serving one another. We can replace the old ways that hurt people with new and better ways. I want to ask you to imagine the ways you would like the world to be different and share those ideas with your grown-ups. Those ideas are what we call prophetic imagination. Those ideas are not childish or naive or worthless. In fact, our prophetic imagination may be the most valuable thing that we have. Our imagination is what we use to create and plan for the better world. Let's keep imagining together and talking about what we imagine and believing it is possible to do better. Let's build things together, things that are as beautiful and good as a newborn baby, as beautiful and good as this good and beautiful world. And now we'll experience some beautiful music from Amy and Franco.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home, a long way from home. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. A long way from home, a long, long way from home. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. A long way from home. A long, long way from home.
Oh, Amy and Franco, what a gift your essential ministry has been to us through these times. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking us to the well of prayer where we now continue, where we gather to invoke love, to name our struggles and our joys, as we do every time we gather. In a moment, I'm going to invite us to name our truths and have them held in community.
But first, and today in particular, let us lift up our collective voice in lament. Enough is enough. Ya basta. We are done with the never-ending police brutality. We are done with a militarized city that prevents our people from gathering and mourning and protesting and lamenting in community together.
Enough is enough. Ya basta. Ya basta con el trabajo emocional de una tristeza sobre otra, una rabia sobre otra. Ya basta.
We are done with business as usual, with lack of imagination, with hopelessness, with despair. We are hungry for a glimpse of possibility, for a promise, any shred of the promise of justice. We are hungry for a sign that another world is on its way, even now. Enough is enough. Ya basta.
Ya basta con la mentira que estamos separados, que no tenemos poder y fuerza en el colectivo. Ya basta con la ilusión de que no podemos hacer nada. Enough is enough. Ya basta, ya basta.
Spirit of justice and liberation, be with us now. In the name of love and hope, we call on our ancestors and on the great cloud of witnesses to be here. Fill us with your strength, your courage. Help us to know we sit in the lap of the divine. We are not alone. We are loved and we love one another.
We know and remember that we only get through this together. Juntos seguimos adelante. Juntos nos apoyamos y nos queremos y nos acompañamos en esta jornada de cambio y transformación.
Living spirit of community and transformation, come into our hearts and show us the way to healing. Show us the beauty beneath the brokenness.
Queridísima diosa, ayúdanos a conectar a la alegría que nos da fuerza y perseverancia.
Remind us of our collective birthrights, freedom, joy, peace, and a place for everyone. Please, and thank you.
Por favor y gracias.
In the name of all that we call holy.
En nombre del futuro que nos imaginamos.
Please and thank you.
Por favor y gracias. Thank you, beloveds, for joining us in that lament. Thank you. And now, as we do every week when we are together, we'll take some time to share with each other. And this week, we're going to begin by sharing our challenges and our sorrows. I will begin. We also hold in our embrace the family of Adam Toledo and the Little Village neighborhood in Chicago, Illinois, as they mourn Adam's death at the hands of the police 2 weeks ago. We pray that justice be done and that Adam's family and wider community find comfort in this unimaginably difficult time. And our prayers and care surround those in Indianapolis following the mass shootings at the FedEx facility there. May the families of those killed find their way to healing in the wake of this senseless violence and loss of life. And now, please share in the chat, friends. What challenges are we holding with you? What is hard or sorrowful in your life? We will look to the chat. You can speak it out loud in your home. You can name it quietly in your heart. We hold our struggles together because when we hold them together, they are easier to hold.
Yes. Yes, all of these things and more unspoken challenges are part of what life is for us for right now. Let's take a couple of breaths to feel that together. And let us turn also to joy. Let us remember that our joy and liberation are not negotiable. Let us reconnect to our sources of comfort and possibility. So tell us, what is good and helpful for you today, friends? What gives you hope and helps you build your resilience?
I have a joy, Lauren.
Oh, good.
I'm coming to Minneapolis in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we're going to find a home.
Yes.
I'm going to buy it, and we're going to be moving there in the middle of June. And we're very happy about that.
We are with you in that joy, Julika.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you, friends. Thank you for these joys. They're so helpful. And thank you for your kind, welcoming words. I receive them. Thank you for taking the space and the time to be vulnerable together. This collective practice that we have of communal prayer is a real gift. It strengthens us. It strengthens our community when we share with each other. Thank you.
For these things shared and for those things held quietly in our hearts too. We hold it all together. And together we pray. May the grip of addiction be loosened.
May the weight of oppression be lightened.
May grief be shared.
May joy break through.
And may love make every suffering bearable for us all. Amen.
Amen.
And now let's join in singing Spirit of Life with Sarah Lindsay and Franco Holder on piano.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Hi, my name is Johanna Mackby. I am an artist and activist and a young healer in the community. And I also serve on the board of trustees at First Universalist, our church. I'm going to read something that I wrote in response to Dante Wright's murder. It is a poem, a eulogy, and a letter to America. Sometimes I think it's the end. For a moment, I find myself in peace. until I see the news. Another Black man dead, and I'm reminded of our reality. How many more Black bodies will it take to please you? How many more live lynchings, traffic stop executions, brutal beatings, cries for mothers, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. How many cities have to burn? How many communities destroyed? Emmett Till because he whistled. Tamir Rice for being a child. A Tatiana Jefferson, wrong place, wrong time. How many more lives lost? So much white silence in Minnesota nice. Performative posts and meaningless signs. Like we aren't dying. Like this ain't the equivalent to being hanged from a tree with everyone watching. Like cops weren't created to catch and kill. Like this is just a one-time thing and not genocide. Like this system is broken when it works the way it's supposed to. And it works the way it's supposed to. So what will you say when this all comes back to you? When truth comes knocking at your door? When it's time to answer for all crimes you committed? All the children you took? What will you say on your day of reckoning? I'm sorry. On Sunday, April 11th, Dante Wright was murdered at the hands of a police officer. In the name of racism, in the name of hatred. There is no need for further circumstance. The good or bad he's done is irrelevant to his death, to his life being taken. To justify a murder or to bestow martyr onto someone is to dehumanize them. Dante lived. That's what matters. He lived. Now, I want to invite y'all to take a breath or a break. I know that was some really heavy stuff, so please do what your body is needing and address what it's feeling. It's been a heavy week. It really has, and I'm exhausted. I really am. I've been trying to take care of my community, be there for my community, but especially be there for myself. And remember that I cannot be there for my community or for the ones that I love without taking care of myself first. And I want to tell all the folks of color right now, remind y'all about this thing called resiliency. When people talk about resiliency, it's like they always say, fight, 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 keep going, keep going, keep going. And I just want to remind y'all that's not what resiliency is. Real resiliency, true resiliency, is actively resting, is taking a nap, sleeping, taking care of your body, taking a break when you need a break. It means putting yourself first before others. And to be honest, resiliency is just living, is waking up in a Black or brown body, waking up as a person of color every day and living. And that is so brave. So I just want to say I'm proud of y'all for waking up every day, because that is resiliency. That on its own is being resilient. Another way I have been trying to take care of myself, besides, deep breathing and yoga and trying to take care of my body, like bathing, I decided to get up and create a zine. A zine is basically a short booklet that has a point, usually a political point. It has images and just phrases and sometimes poetry. And I created the zine because I needed a way to metabolize the pain that I was feeling and to create something out of it. And so this is what I created. It talks about resiliency, love, and hope as a person of color in this world. I'm selling the zines hopefully within the next week or two for two white people for $5, and to folks of color for $0. Like you don't gotta pay for it. All of the money that is raised from those zines will go to Dante Wright's family, to communities impacted by the uprisings, and to intervention/prevention programs, organizations, and collectives that are trying to help folks of color break generational curses and trauma caused by systemic racism and slavery. I would really appreciate it if y'all would look out for my zine. It'll be in the Weekly Liberal within a week or two. Again, it's $5 for white folks, and for folks of color, it's free. And when you buy the zine, you get a copy in the mail. And yeah, so please look out for that. I appreciate any support y'all can give to this cause. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and may peace and love be with you. And again, please remember to take care of yourselves. Thank you.
Johanna, thank you for sharing your wisdom, for sharing your experience, for sharing how you care for yourself, for the encouragement, and for creating something out of this devastation. So let's take some time to rest in beauty together as we listen to Ani Peikel sing with us Ella's song.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of black men, black mother's son, is as important as the killing of white men, white mother's son. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. The older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the rings are in the hands of the young who dare to run against a stone. To meet the young people comes first. They have the courage where we fail. And if I can but shed some light as they carry us through the gale. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
I'm so grateful to each of you as individuals and to this community for shoring me up and cracking me open, the way of the Spirit, right? So this morning, I want to share with you a saying that happens in the recovery community. And I have to admit that this saying from the recovery community usually involves swear words. I'm going to omit them this morning, and you can just be creative in your own home about what word you would like to put in there. And you can imagine where it will go. So here's the context. I think it's fair to say that generally when folks are coming into recovery from an addiction, things are not going well for them. Generally speaking, something is going very, very wrong. Some internal piece of integrity is out of alignment. Maybe this person who is approaching recovery is doing things that they know they don't want to be doing. There's something severely out of alignment. People are being harmed. They are being harmed. And so when they come to approach this idea of making a big change in their life, it's usually out of a place of pretty clear devastation, maybe internally and externally. So there's this underlying kind of universal experience as folks approach recovery. And it is a knowledge that something has got to change. So in the 12-step community, there are 12 steps as implied by the name, right? And the practice, the lifelong spiritual practice, is to go through the steps, to take them one after the other, and then to do it again. Lifelong spiritual practice that happens in community, in care, takes effort and commitment and each other. But before you can even get to step one of these 12 steps, we tend to say you also and first have to take step 0. So what exactly is step 0? You might be asking yourself, and this is exactly where you can put in that swear word of your own choice. So the saying goes like this: step 0 is blank has got to change. Blank has got to change. Things have got to change. Like I said, use your own word, but you know where I'm going. Before you can approach a lifelong spiritual practice of transformation that requires deep effort and a willingness to go somewhere you don't know where you're going, but you know has got to be better than where you are, you've got to get to step 0. Blank has got to change. So, friends, I think we're there. At least I pray that we are there. Step 0. Things have got to change. As we heard, it was just a week ago, right? At this time, a week ago, Dante Wright was alive. 2 weeks ago, Adam Toledo was alive. A year ago, George Floyd was alive. All of these people and so many others killed by an oppressive state that is working exactly as it was meant to. This is where we are. We know these stories and so many others because they are the same story with different lives that have been happening for over 400 years in this country. And some of us, and I'm thinking about our Black and Brown and Indigenous community members, have borne this burden in a particularly horrific and excruciating way. Things have got to change. Step 0. I've been finding myself this week reminded of something that our current vice president of the board here at church, Darren Woodson, said from our pulpit back, it was 2 Easters ago, Easter Sunday in 2019, and Darren was the worship associate. She stood up in the pulpit and she described racism and our continued compliance with white supremacy culture as an addiction. She told us that racism wasn't a thing that was ever going to be fully behind us, but rather the work of transformation and liberation was a lifelong spiritual practice, that we would need community and care and effort and a willingness to take steps and move in directions where we didn't know where we were going to go at the end, but we knew it had to be better than where we were starting. She told us that racism was an addiction, and we were going to need each other as we came out of this lifelong, or we came into this lifelong spiritual practice of recovery from racism. This is where we are going together, and this is the level of commitment it is going to take to truly transform ourselves and this world. So, can we be at step 0? Can we please acknowledge all of us? Some of us have been there for a long, long time, that things have got to change. But can we all be there now, please, at step 0, with the acknowledgement that things have got to change and the corresponding urgent commitment that comes with the lifelong practice of eradicating racism and white supremacy culture? Can we please be at step 0 now? I don't want any more devastation. I don't want any more lives lost, and I know you don't either. Can we be at step 0? You know, and I know here in Minneapolis and all over our country, we are in a state of emergency. The governor said so, the mayor said so, the soldiers stationed on the corner of every major intersection here in Minneapolis tell us so, whether we want them here or not. We are in a state of emergency, and here's the thing. The emergency is not what they are telling us it is, not at all. The emergency has been going on for generations. The emergency is the need to control grieving, enraged, terrorized masses. The emergency is the destruction. It is the soul corroding systems that have been built upon this good earth. It is the systems of oppression that have been placed upon us and that have been accepted by so many of our good hearts. That is the state of emergency, the impact of profit over people, of racism and oppression embedded in our systems of policing and education and public health. That is what has gotten us to this place, to this point, this state of emergency where I pray and I act as if we are there at step 0. We are disconnected from ourselves, each other, and this good earth. It was at the beginning of my ministry when a colleague of mine broke down some spiritual concepts for me in a way that made absolute sense and that has shaped me ever since. So this is the language that he used. He said, for us as Unitarian Universalists, sin is really simple. Sin is disconnection. Sin is separation from ourselves, from each other, from the earth, and for some of us, from what we understand as God or the holy. Sin is separation. Hell is living in a state of separation and disconnection. Hell is living in that state of being separated from ourselves, from each other, from the earth, and from what some of us know as God. And redemption isn't coming from someone else, isn't coming from some outside being. Redemption is simply about repair. It is about us repairing that disconnection from ourselves, from each other, from the earth, from the holy. Repair and redemption is about reconnection. Reconnection with self, others, earth, the holy. That is what repair can look like for us. We do it ourselves in community with each other. Now, I've been looking for hope because I need it to help me to continue. And I've been turning to the author, Rebecca Solnit. And she has this description of what paradise is, of what paradise can be like, or heaven, maybe, right? She says paradise is living in a state of unbroken solidarity. Paradise is living in a state of unbroken solidarities. So what does solidarity mean, right? Solidarity looks like Philonaise Floyd leaving the trial of Derek Chauvin for the murder of his brother, to go be in the streets grieving with Dante Wright's family. That is what solidarity looks like. Solidarity is when we really know and live as if we are tied up inescapably in a network of mutuality, in a single garment of destiny, when we know that there are no other people's children. We are of each other. And that is how it is, and that is how we act. That is what solidarity is. So paradise, Solnit tells us, heaven here on this earth is about living in a state of unbroken solidarities with ourselves, with each other, with the earth, with the holy for some of us. So let me continue to break down this idea a bit. And we've got a couple of slides I want to show you so you can be in this with me and we can break this down together. So this is quote from Rebecca Solnit's book, A Paradise Built in Hell. And in this, she is exploring communities that are created in the wake of disaster, the good that can arise even out of a state of emergency. So you're seeing this up on your screen, right? She says, in the wake of a disaster, an earthquake, a bombing, a major storm, most people are actually altruistic. They are urgently engaged in caring for themselves and the people around them, right? Strangers and neighbors, as well as friends and loved ones. We've seen that here in our city. So this image, she says, of the selfish, panicky, regressively savage human being that shows up in times of despair, it's simply not the big truth. I think it's actually the big lie. She says decades of meticulous sociological research on behavior and disasters, right? So research going back from the bombings of World War II to floods and tornadoes and earthquakes and storms across the continent and around the world have demonstrated this. So the truth is there, she says, but belief is lagging behind. And often the worst behavior that happens in the wake of a disaster, in the wake of a calamity or state of emergency, actually comes from those who believe that others are going to behave savagely, and they have to take defensive measures against those others, right? So she says, from the earthquake-shattered San Francisco in 1906 to flooded New Orleans in 2005, innocents have been killed by people who have believed or asserted that their victims were the criminals and they themselves were the protectors of the shaken order. What we believe matters. If I believe that my well-being is independent of yours or somehow pitted against yours, and I justify my conduct as natural law, if I am not my sibling's keeper, then we have been expelled from paradise. I say we have expelled ourselves from paradise, the paradise of unbroken solidarities. When we forget that we are each other's keepers, then everyday life becomes a social disaster. That from the teacher and the prophet, Rebecca Solnit. We must believe that we can create something better. Surely we can create something better than this. Surely we can say we are at step 0 and things have got to change even if we don't know where we are going yet. It can be better. It will be better if we live in a state of unbroken solidarity with ourselves, with each other, with the earth, with the holy for some of us. So this is the question, the charge I want to give you today. What does it look like, feel like? What will it be like for you when you are living in a state of unbroken solidarity with yourself, with another person, with the community, with the holy, with the earth? What does it look like, feel like? What will it be like when you are living in a state of unbroken solidarity? Will it look like nurturing first self-care? Will it look like good food, water, rest, hope if that is what you need, rage if that is what you need? What will it look like in caring for each other, showing up together in the ways that you can to express grief, rage, hope, possibility, to live into transformation? What will it look like for you to live in a state of unbroken solidarity? That is what I'm asking you today. That is what I am asking us. How will we make this real? How will we build something good and new upon this good earth with our good hearts? How will we come back into connection with ourselves, each other, the earth, the holy, this world? So friends, I want to know. I want you to tell each other. I want you to make commitments to yourself and each other about how you will today and this week start to live even more in even some small way. How will you live into a state of unbroken solidarity, that we might come into heaven in this life and experience a bit of that joy and thriving here and now? May it be so. Amen. So each week when we gather, one of the spiritual practices we engage in is giving and receiving and growing together. We recognize that we are all in a state of flux always, and sometimes our spiritual practice is giving, and sometimes our spiritual practice is receiving, and whichever one we're doing, we are growing together. So this morning, I offer us the opportunity for those who are in a position where they are in need of receiving. I encourage you to let us know. Let us know if your heart is breaking and you need to spend some time with someone else, whether it's with one of our care companions after the service or a member of our staff or someone in the community. Let us know if you have financial need this week or ever. And if you have financial gifts to give, I invite you to share those gifts this morning. So this morning, our offering will be shared with Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. So Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism is such an important organization, harnessing love's power to combat oppression and foster healing as a spiritual and political imperative. Now, many of you have heard Blue has a particular initiative in North Minneapolis, the Blue Housing Project, that will empower Black and Indigenous families for generations to come. So I invite you, if you are in a place to give, to consider giving and sharing with Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism today. And I invite all of us to give, but also to receive. And so let's receive today the beauty of the music of Melanie DeMore.
Hello, UU family. I'm going to sing a song with you called Shine on Me. It's an amazing spiritual that anybody can sing. And in these days when the things that we're dealing with, the feeling separate and all of that, and things seem so hard, this is one of those songs that you just throw your head back, put it in your medicine kit. All you have to do is ask. And here's how it goes. Shine on me, oh shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me, oh shine on me, yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Lift me up, oh, lift me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up, oh, lift me up, yes, lift me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up, oh, hold me close, yes, hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse hold me close, yes, hold me close, oh, hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse, please, hold me close. Oh, shine on me, yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Oh, shine on me. Yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. All you have to do is just ask. The light is always there. Always. Always. Oh, yeah.
The light is always there. Let us feel it. The light of possibility and promise. The light of connection across difference and distance and all things. Let us take in the light, be restored and renewed, and build something new and whole and beautiful on this earth. May it be so, and amen. And friends, as we prepare to sing our way out, I want to remind you, join us for Fellowship Hour if you wish. If you want to access the BIPOC Fellowship Hour, that'll be through the main Fellowship Hour today. And please come by if you're here locally for our gathering in gratitude from 1 to 3 today in the church parking lot. We'd love to see you and to celebrate what we can do collectively. Let's sing ourselves on our way with Go Now in Peace.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
And friends, as always, while we extinguish the flames of our chalice, we never extinguish the flame of community and commitment that burns in our hearts and connects us always. So as you extinguish your flame and go on your way, please let us know where you are carrying the flame today.